Welcome to
Yes.
the show, Caitlin. Introduce yourself to everybody.
Thanks, Andy. Happy to be here. Yes, I am Caitlin. I am otherwise known as Cybersecurity Girl on social media, which is crazy to me. But yeah, I think I'm the largest cybersecurity social media influencer in the world at this point, which I don't know if is a feat or is embarrassing. I think it's both. But
That's
really
true.
happy to be here.
Very good. Yeah, you're trying to get to 400,000 followers today. Like that's your big thing on Instagram. So, best of luck with that.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm at 399. So at this point, it's just like get me over the finish line. It's but yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I didn't realize how needed cybersecurity tips are in the world today. And clearly, as like, I mean, my social media has grown in 2 years to that. You can tell how important it is to have this conversation with everyday people.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody needs to be aware of what's going on online with them, their data, all the scams that are out there and that sort of stuff. So, what was it that piqued your curiosity about cybersecurity that led you to this career?
Yeah, it's actually a funny story because I never was peaked in cyber. In my opinion, this was like 11 years ago. I thought cybersecurity was like a hacker in a hoodie, like behind a computer. And I did
Uh,
engineering. And ironically, before I did engineering, I also thought the same thing. I was like a aerospace mechanical engineer. And I honestly thought it was just like guys in like coveralls and, grease everywhere. I had no idea. But the beauty about me is I'm intrigued and I love learning. So I was like, you know what? I'm good at math and science. I'm going to do engineering. And then when it came to cybersecurity, I was like, I'm a good problem solver. I'm good in tech. Like I can figure this out. So I kind of like haphazardly like fell into cybersecurity when I was going into consulting after my master's degree, and I learned everything on the job. But I was intrigued by cyber at that time because I was like, I know this is a big deal. Now I had no idea what cybersecurity was, but I just knew that it was like gonna be a thing. I mean, I think if you talk to anyone back then, like 11 years ago, they probably would have said the same thing, but no one had the ability or, um, yeah, no one had the ability or understanding of how to even get into that career field. It
mhm.
wasn't ever mentioned. I just was really, really lucky with the people I ended up meeting during my job interviews, and they asked me to do it. So I was intrigued by cybersecurity more from like a learning perspective. I'm a constant learner and constant student. So yeah, I loved it, and I haven't looked back since.
Very cool. There are so many people that I have on my show who say humbly, just like you, I'm learning. Don't call me an expert because I'm always learning and I have a passion for learning. So I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people out there that think like cybersecurity is only for like corporate offices and for banks and things like that. Why do we as individuals need to practice cybersecurity in our everyday lives?
Well, cybersecurity in general is protecting yourself online. So technically, the basics of cybersecurity is they call it the CIA triad. That's how it first started. I think it was in like 1987. It's confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So making sure that the data that you have is confidential. So only the bright people, if people don't need to see it, they don't need to see it. It's protected. So you want that as a person, right? You don't want your data just thrown out about for everyone to
Mm-mm.
see. Integrity,
Right.
making sure that your data is correct. Like you don't want false fake news, like Trump says. We don't want fake news about ourselves online either. And it's the same with companies, but it's really personal as well. And availability, making sure that you have the data when you need to have the data. So like for example, if I'm booking a appointment, a health appointment, and they're not able to access my records, and I have to go back through a bunch of millions of emails to try to give them like making sure that the data is available for the right people at the right time. And that
Hmm.
that CIA triad is not just for corporate. If anything, it's more for people. But it's been driven by corporate for so long because corporations want to keep. I mean, I think at the foundation, it's data protection and privacy. They want to keep their data secure from everyone else. They want to keep their intellectual property secure from competitors. So it really started with corporate, but I think what I'm trying to have shift is I also work in training and awareness, and a lot of the training professionals that work in corporate are trying to teach people cybersecurity from a corporate perspective, which means like, how can we teach these people to protect corporate data when really that's not the way to go about it. You have to teach the people how to keep their personal information safe before they even care about protecting corporate data. And the
Good
way to
point.
do that, yeah, the way to do that is like teaching them why it's important to keep their data safe and how to do that. Because if they don't feel empowered to do it for themselves and their family and their loved ones, why would they feel empowered to protect corporations that they work
Right.
for? Unless
Yeah.
they're like
But
going to get fired or something. But at that point, like as a
right.
corporation, you can't really like threaten your people that much. So I think it is a personal choice. And it is
Mm,
interesting that a lot of people are saying that uh, do we still have privacy? Maybe not, but I beg to differ. So that's a whole nother question. But yeah, I think um, cybersecurity is definitely a personal choice. It just was brought out by corporations because they didn't basically want to have everyone stealing their intellectual properties, and they wanted to keep stuff secure. And also from a government perspective, the US government was trying to keep all of their trade secrets secure from, cyber warfare and other
right.
countries taking it. So when it comes to like big companies like healthcare and telecom systems and any infrastructure, like I think that's where it started because it's super important that we keep everything locked down, especially in the US. But it kind of continued to trickle out into everything else, and then corporate picked it up more. And then for some reason, the tail end is us users, which actually should be the opposite.
Right. I agree. Now, you said a second ago, talking about people and their families. What are some of the best tips that you can give us to help keep our families safe online?
Yeah, I mean, I always get asked this, and I always say the same thing, and I want to slam my head against the wall. It's passwords. Passwords is like a number one thing, and if I talked to Jen Easterly, who's the head of CISA, which is basically cybersecurity infrastructure for the U.S. government. She's incredible, but she literally says the same thing. It's passwords and multi-factor authentication, and I'm going to
Mm,
dive a little bit deeper into passwords, but basically
sure.
a lot of people have the same like base password or the same password. But I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that people are going to be decent at passwords. They're going to have the same base one and maybe change a few extra characters at the end. Now, the issue comes in because once your password is leaked on the dark web, hackers, all they have to do, there's an algorithm that they can run, and they can run like thousands of variations of that one base password and pretty easily crack your passwords for anything else. And so what people like to say is either come up with a passphrase, which is like a bunch of like 7 or 8 random words that make no sense together, but string them together that you'll remember. And or like I do, I have a password manager, which literally generates like really unique passwords and saves them in the app. Just make sure that you have a strong password protecting your password manager so people don't get in. But I like passwords are so, so, so important. And the next thing is multi-factor authentication, which is basically 2 ways of authenticating you yourself. So you are who you say you are, whether that's like you're logging in with the password as the first way, and they send you a text message the second way, or they send you an email the second way. Sometimes they do a phone call. Any other like way of authenticating, if an app or a business is allowing you to do two-factor authentication or multi-factor authentication, definitely opt into that. The third is VPN, which
Mm,
is if you're on public Wi-Fi, which we are all on all the time. Like I'd like to say that I'm not, but I am. If it's public, it's very easy because your stuff is going unencrypted to different places.
right.
So a VPN encrypts your messages basically. It's like making up some random code. So if someone actually does get in, they can't actually read what's going on. So VPNs are super important when it comes to public Wi-Fi. But in general, like try to give the least information out as
Hmm.
possible. Like I don't think people realize the internet is a money pit for companies. Every single time you click, even if you hover, a lot of companies even collect when you hover over like a link to about to buy
Mm,
something. Like
hmm.
or if you it's not even like if your mouse is hovering, if you stay on one site for too long and you're looking at the same thing, it like tracks how long you've been on that one page. So every single thing you do online is getting tracked and monitored and sold. And so the least data that you can give them, do it. Also just a fun fact, incognito mode is really not incognito.
Right. Right.
It's just not. It's it's incognito for your actual device, but it's not really incognito for anyone else that is hosting the website, really. So yeah, just know that the internet every time you log on is a money pit that they're basically taking all your data and selling it, especially in the US. I'm not going to speak on behalf of other countries because some countries have it pretty locked down. But in the US, I mean, we're known for business, and it's a business. Online is a business. So just be wary of where and who you're giving your data out to. If you don't have to create an account online, don't create an account. If you don't have to download an app online or download an app, don't download it. Just check out as a guest. Like try to eliminate as many all these people getting your data as possible.
Got it. That's a lot of great advice there, and I appreciate all of it. So, in all of your experience, like what's been like the most important that thing that you have learned that you've discovered out there that has really kind of changed how you look at cybersecurity?
Yeah. So I mean, I'll go from like two perspectives. So the first is I didn't realize how important cybersecurity education was until I started this channel. Like I didn't really start it for cyber education. I wanted to give some tips, but it wasn't like the main reason why I started was to get more people into cybersecurity as a career.
Hmm.
And a lot of my all my first viral videos were all about the tips I was giving people to stay safe. And that's when I realized, you know what, we're in a day and age where we're literally given an iPad before we can speak, and no one's ever told us how to use it securely or how it works or what's going on.
Right.
And
Right.
it's like taxes, but like you need to know how to like you need to understand how to keep yourself safe and what to do and how it works like at a basic level because you're literally constantly. I mean, when was the last time you could think about like you not being on technology for over an hour? I mean, besides sleeping.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's I didn't realize, I mean, I know that's probably not the angle you're going for that question, but I think
No,
it's a
but
really interesting thing to talk about because
mhm.
I don't know why it's not talked about. I don't know why cybersecurity is never brought up. It's never taught. Um, but also in general, like I said, I kind of mentioned this before. Every time you go online, your data is being collected. Your data is being
Mhm.
used for something that you most likely didn't give permission to. You probably implicitly gave permission when you accepted the cookies or you, were shown a privacy policy and you ignored it because let's be real, all these privacy policies are created for for lawyers and for legal purposes and not for, us individuals to understand.
Great
So
point.
yeah, that's the other thing is like those two things. It's like we really need a cybersecurity education from like a general basic human perspective to understand what it is. And then we also need to understand that everything we do is being tracked.
Yeah. That's so is there a is there a web browser out there that maybe collects less of your data, the one that you would say, "Hey, this one might be okay to use with a VPN that will probably lessen the amount of data that you put out there?" Is there do you have a recommendation there?
Yeah, I mean, I use Brave, but I know that I'm trying to avoid every Google, anything Google, like even
Yeah.
Google
Yeah, I
Maps,
understand.
Google.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do I mean, do you use a specific browser?
I use Firefox, and then also I am starting to use Brave because Brave blocks all the ads on YouTube, and I love them for that. So,
Yeah.
anytime I'm trying to, go online and learn how to do something, I don't want to have to sit here and watch, 90 seconds worth of ads to watch the video. So, yeah, I think Brave is good. DuckDuckGo is another one that I think is okay too. So, that's just my opinion, though.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think those two are pretty great. But I mean,
Cool.
it's when you're used to Google, it's really hard to get people to stop,
Sure.
but they don't realize that how much is being tracked. You can
Right.
control it. So I do use Google sometimes, but I've actively nailed down my privacy settings. And I've
Hmm.
made some videos about how you can see what Google's
Yes.
tracking on you. Like you can even see the exact type of person that they've like profiled you as to like marketing, which is crazy.
Fun.
Um, it's a fun game. You should see it. You should look at it. They'll like say like what they think your age is and like what you're interested. It's a whole thing. I should do another video about that because I did it like a year ago and it like blew up, but I haven't done it since.
Yeah. 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 Do it
Um,
again. Tag me, and I want to see it. Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, yeah. But it's if you can lock down a lot of your Google privacy preferences, I think it's a lot better. I mean, I don't know if it's actually gonna listen as I mean, if they're actually gonna actively stop tracking, but in ignorance is bliss. I'm doing my part as much as I can to like get off their radar. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it sounds like, companies aren't really giving us a whole lot of privacy online, right? Is that a fair assessment, you think?
Yeah. And I don't know if it's like because the companies are they're it's not because companies are trying to be malicious. At the
Oh,
beginning
sure.
of like
Sure.
when the internet started, like data was king. Like if you had the most data, you could market the best, you can understand like who your audience is, you can like it was you wanted to collect as much data as possible. And now it's like the opposite. So we're in this like weird stage where like they're trying to only collect what's needed, but then, there's arguments on like what's actually needed. So I do think, yeah, it's the companies are tracking your data like crazy. I don't know if it's, in my opinion, it's not like a malicious thing. It's just like their data's king at this point.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
switching gears just a little bit here, explain to everybody, give us an overview of what a data broker does and how much of our privacy is actually being sold.
A data broker is basically just a company that like collects data and gets sent data, and then they sell that type of data to other people for marketing purposes. And they're getting this data from apps and websites. They're getting this data from government, oddly enough, and really sadly, the government sells our data. Like the
Yeah.
DMV sells our data
Yes. Yes, they
for
do.
money. Yeah. So you even think like, oh, it's a government website. No, they're selling it. So they're getting it from like any website, any app, any government record, employee records, like pretty much everything. And it goes to these data brokers. The data brokers kind of group them all together. And data brokers really focus on personal information. So it's not like all your social media handles or anything. I mean, some data brokers have that, but it's really like your first and last name, your email address, your phone number, your relatives, your home address, which is like a huge thing, any
Mhm.
addresses ever affiliated or associated with your name. And so I am terrified of them. Like
Mhm.
I started being terrified maybe like 6 or 7 months into my social media journey. And my brother and I were living together at the time. He goes, Caitlin, what happens if someone just comes and shows up at our door? Like, what are you gonna do? And I'm like, I don't know. And there's too many data brokers out there. Like I was doing already like videos of how to delete your data from every data broker, but as you know, there's hundreds of data brokers out there. There are some like four key data brokers, but there's still literally hundreds and thousands of data brokers. So I just used a platform or a company called DeleteMe, and they literally have been a lifesaver. Like I don't see,
Mhm.
knock on wood, I have not seen any of my personal information out in the public for a while because I've been trying to film more DeleteMe videos, and I have to use like another person's name in order for me to show it because I can't.
Yes,
Their
that
mine's
is
not on there
difficult.
anymore. Yeah,
Right. Yeah, so you and I both work, with Delete Me, and what is
yeah.
it that you like about them that really sets them apart? Because you talked about trusting them, they were a lifesaver to you. Why is Delete Me so important?
Yeah, I mean, especially if you just want to maintain your privacy. I mean, I know there's like a lot of stalkers out there. I know people have like a lot of just like personal issues that they don't want people having their like home address and phone number or like their parents' address or anything like that.
Mhm.
Um, I trust them because they've literally been able to basically wipe my personal information off the internet. And it makes me feel so much like safer and more comfortable in my own home. Like people always ask me like, oh, you work in cyber, you know all the dangers. Like, do you feel safe? And I feel like when I'm working with them and I partner, that's why I partnered with them. I was like, when I work with them, I just feel like more people need to know about this because it's like the like last and final step that I need in order to feel secure. Like, there's only so much I can do to protect my personal like self, like with passwords and everything like that. But data brokers keep popping up. Like this is the other thing. People don't realize every single time you log online, like go online, your data is being collected again. So just because you delete your data from key data brokers one time doesn't mean it's gone. Like it'll probably
Right.
come back in a couple months. And that's the greatest thing about Delete Me is that they're doing these scans every 2 months to see if your data comes back up on all these hundreds and thousands of data brokers. And then they give you a report after being like, hey, here's where it all showed up. We're in the process of deleting these ones were deleted, we didn't find any new ones. And it just like a breath of fresh air. I don't know if you felt the same way, but I just felt like that was like the final piece of like making sure that I felt secure online and that they were it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny, my wife and I, we refinanced our house maybe 2 years ago. And so
Mm,
like the lawyer came and we signed all the paperwork right there on the dining room table. And at the end of it, she's like, oh, by the way, you're probably going to start getting a lot of mailers for people congratulating you on buying your new home. That's just going to happen. And I thought to myself, I just repopulated all of my data back out there, and now DeleteMe is going to have to go back through and do all of this work again. And they did. And like the next privacy report I got, they had deleted a ton of stuff because it had just shown up because of something that I had done. I wanted to refinance my house, and then all of a sudden these people had all my information and address and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I agree. DeleteMe helps me feel safer online and in real life too. So yeah.
Yeah. I started doing living trusts, or not living trusts, but like I put it in a trust because I was like, I don't want people knowing
Yes. Yeah.
at all.
Yeah, put it in a trust, start an LLC, that sort of thing, buy your houses that way. That's a great step, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Caitlin, looking to the future, what do you think families need to know to protect themselves going forward here in 2024?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on like if we're talking about kids protection or like overall family protection or um let's see, financial protection. Like there's so many different scams out there, and I'm actually speaking, I think, with ABC News later on about like how we can protect ourselves from scams because there's so many of them.
Right.
But in general, like the kind of tips I gave was like the password thing, um, turn on multi-factor authentication. And then when it comes to like not falling for scams, like I really want people to focus on when they get a weird email or a text message or anything like that, like take a step back, take a breather. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Confirm the contact. Like if they're like, oh, it's coming from a bank, okay, like don't look at the message. Go off, find your own bank phone number, call that bank and confirm that they're actually who they say they are. Um, like voice calls, there's been a lot of like voice calls cloning.
Mm-hmm.
Like have a safe word with your family. I also think from like a kid perspective, because I follow a lot of like online family security accounts. And I just like wouldn't, I would try to post your kid like the least amount. Like just don't
Yes.
post
Agreed.
them. And then
Right.
also if you are posting them like on a white background, don't post them like in public or like at the public park near your house because there's so many new AI
Right.
softwares that allows one, if you don't wipe the metadata off of your camera, off of your
Mm-hmm.
phone,
Mm-hmm.
they can get the metadata, which gives them the exact location of where it was taken. If you do happen to wipe the metadata off of the picture, there's still AI that can recognize backgrounds like very well and give you the exact coordinates of where that photo's taken. So like if you are doing it, like make sure that you're doing it securely because people don't realize that like constantly posting photos of your kids and your family like everywhere you are is really putting your family at risk. And now I think the next question is, okay, well, why would anyone go for me? I don't know why, but they do. Like
Mm-hmm.
scammers go for anyone as long as they get money or like there's some type of value for them. So just be very mindful and weary of, and it's not just scammers. There's like a ton of creeps out there on the internet. This is not
Yeah.
just from like scamming purposes. Okay.
Right.
But
Right.
like, I would just be very wary of like how and when and how often you post your kids. So
Yeah.
if you're looking at scam messages, just be very like, if there's a gut feeling saying that's wrong, like trust your gut. Don't act urgently. Like every single time there's a phishing email or scam email, it's always like something's urgent. And when you're like, as a mom, I can only imagine like when you're tired and there's so much going on and they're telling you your order is going to be canceled and you like act on impulse, like that's when they get you. So just like when you
Right.
get weird messages, I really encourage people to like take a step back, breathe. Does it make sense? Confirm the contact, and then like don't click on any links and fill out information. Just don't do it.
Right. Yeah, I found your reel that you did on the AI that can pinpoint where a picture was taken very creepy. I feel like AI has really just come on so strong in just like the last 12 months. That was quite an education seeing that. And the
Yeah.
picture that you posted to test it wasn't like, oh, like in front of the Washington Monument where anybody could figure it out. It was just like a random street, right?
Yeah, in New York too, and I was like, I was just like trying to test it out because obviously, and it's AI, so like it's gonna hit and it's gonna miss. Like I got a
Right.
few messages being like, I posted three and it didn't get any of them. I'm like, okay, well, like the whole point is it can get them, and it's like also most of these people are trying to like see how good the AI is, so they're probably posting pictures of like absolutely like a white wall. But
Mhm.
the whole point is like it's AI is going to continue to grow. Again, there's still metadata that's attached to your photos. So it's nuts. Like I would just be really careful of like everything you put out online. Like, is it necessary? Like, what's the point? If it's doing it for your friends, why don't you just send the picture to your friend? Like, why do you need to
Yeah,
post it on
great point.
social media?
Great point. So, Caitlin, thank you so much for talking with me today. Where can people find out more about you?
Yeah. I'm in all my socials. It's at cybersecurity underscore girl on Instagram. And then at TikTok, it's just at cybersecurity girl with no underscore. We're working on fixing that. But yeah, that's probably the best place to find me. If you want more like professional, obviously I work in cybersecurity too on a normal everyday job. So I'm just Caitlin Sarian on LinkedIn too, and definitely follow along because they do a lot of more professional tips. I mean, all of them are tips nonetheless, but yeah, I'm just happy to be here. So thanks so much, Andy. I appreciate it.
Hey, I appreciate it. God bless you and your mission.
Thank you. You too.